So hello, everyone. My name is Tara James Taylor. I lead the global beauty vertical for Nielsen IQ, and welcome to the next installment of NIQ's Founder Series. This episode will dive into the many facets of launching a beauty brand, from perfecting the formulation and ingredients to securing a meeting with retailers and ultimately getting on shelf to scale. Each episode I host will shine a light on the challenges and successes of a startup beauty brand in an ever-growing, complex industry. Today, I'm very proud to share the story of one of our beauty trailblazers, Sejal Patel, founder of Plantkos. Our Beauty Trailblazer program supports emerging minority-owned brands to help them elevate their business models. They will have access to NIQ tools and data, as well as experts and speakers and mentors within NIQ and external industry partners. Our goal is to support minority-owned brands' business and expedite the journey to growth. So now let's dive in. Sejal, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Tara.
So I'd love to start these conversations just around where the foundation of your brand was. I can see the beautiful product sitting behind you. I know there's actually a very personal story here, which many of the founders have, but this one I'd love because it includes your daughter, in which I also have a 13-year-old daughter. So please, if you could start just with the origin of your product.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for many founders, we're always trying to solve an issue or a concern that we have and that we are not able to find a solution for. And for me, the personal journey started almost now 11 years ago. Now our daughter is 13 years old. So at the age of 2, she was diagnosed with a skin condition called pigmentary mosaicism. And basically what that is, it's uneven pigmentation on her skin. And when the diagnosis came, as a mother, I just felt very helpless because there is not a treatment for that condition, but there are some of the side effects or the effects of that skin condition is that she has dry skin and uneven pigmentation. And I wanted to use the best possible products that I could on her and the safest products. So as a pharmacist, that's when I started really diving into ingredients and making sure that whatever I'm using on her is safe. First of all, safe. And coming from a pharmaceutical background, everything is tested before it goes out to consumer. And as we know, beauty products are not. That was sort of shocking for me to discover that. So again, 11 years ago, not much was available. So I made do with whatever that was there. And one of the things that my husband and I started doing is that, hey, just let's not make her skin condition something that's going to be limiting for her. Rather, just let's instill a lot of confidence in her and have her just be proud of the person she is, regardless of how her skin appears. So that's where everything started. Fast forward, then 6 years ago, I personally started having a lot of skin issues with acne and breaking out, hyperpigmentation, dryness. So that's, again, I went back to, I'm like, oh my God, we experienced this with Arja, our daughter, and her skin condition. Now we have this, and there's truly nothing that's actually working. So that's where, I'll just leave it at that, is that's where truly the whole journey of developing formulations and all of that for Plantkos started.
I love it. And it's such a challenge, right? And you want to find something that's the safest and most effective for your daughter. And I think there's also a nod, and we'll speak to this in a minute, about inclusive beauty, right? Because the pigmentation of your skin and what will work for various pigmentations. How did your daughter feel about you creating various, you have this background, this scientific background, but, children don't always believe in what their parents are creating, right? Sometimes they want something from a store or from a doctor and directly. So how did she feel that her mom was creating this for her?
So it was very interesting because when I initially started, she was still a little bit younger, and now she's a teenager. So her perspective on the products have completely changed from when we launched. We launched in September of 2021, and I started working on the formulation somewhere around in 2017, 2018. So the formulation itself was long time in making, perfecting. I was whipping things in my kitchen, ordering a whole bunch of ingredients from labs all over. And at that point, she didn't really understand. And exactly, she's like, well, why can't I just use this lotion? Why can't we just buy that soap? Why can't I this, that, another? However, fast forward, and just as recently as last week, she was at a school trip in Boston, and we're at Blue Mercury doors. And she and her friend, they were walking around this mall area, saw Blue Mercury, walked into the store and saw Plantkos on the shelves. And she sent me the most beautiful picture with the grin from ear to ear, pointing to Plantkos products and feeling that pride and truly now understanding how she motivated me or how she was the inspiration behind starting something, doing something that's addressing specific concern, or at least keeping the concerns of those with melanin rich skin in mind and creating solution that's applicable for everyone. And then, of course, she had her friend do a little demo with one of her favorite product, which is actually mine as well, this Phyto Essence. So it was very cute. So she's, it was challenging. Now she's using the two of the products, and I can truly see the pride that she feels that, you know what, I had something to do with this, and my mom actually is the founder behind this brand.
That's beautiful. That's really fantastic, and it's a huge hurdle with teens, as we know. Now, I know you didn't just start; you didn't make the product and then go to Blue Mercury, and then poof, you're in all these doors. I know you're in Goop and J.C. Penney and the Detox Market, Bergdorf's, FEMA Markets. But how did it start? Like, how do you actually you obviously go through a tremendous amount of iterations, harnessing all of these various ingredients. How did you really get your launch out there? Tell us about that retail story.
Yeah. So what I think as a founder or even as an entrepreneur, you have to do the research. You have to see what's out there. What is it that, where is the white space? Who are the retailers that you want to work with? So that was my first thing, that I knew that I wanted to stay within a certain retail space, and with clean beauty, conscious beauty, and retailers that will sort of help support the story and the purpose behind the brand. And so I actually, I think I had mentioned to you in our last conversation, is that one of the reports that I read actually was from Nielsen's, just the future of beauty 2025 and beyond. That's what the sort of the overall picture was. So I read that, tried to figure out that retail partnerships are going to be just as important as direct to consumer. And through additional research, attending a lot of conferences, I came across an agency, and the founder of that agency, she has over 25 years of experience in the beauty and retail industry. And I connected with her. Their KSJ Collective is the name. And, I started working with her because I knew that she would help me represent the brand and bring it to the right retailers. So, we put a pitch deck together. We reviewed the retailers and the buyers we wanted to reach out to. She did the initial approach, and then I would come in and, do the presentation, pitch the product, retailer after retailer after retailer,
A
sending
lot
them.
of work. It's exhausting, right?
It is exhausting, and but we took a very sort of a calculated and very focused approach into which retailers we wanted to launch with and whom did we want to partner with, because you don't want to just spread too thin as far as your distribution and all of that is concerned, because that could get you in trouble as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as you're going into retail and even going through various like product iterations, can you tell us like what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced, or any story where something, and we've heard various stories about things just, at first iteration, like something bombing or something going wrong. And I don't know, I think it's always fun for people to hear those lessons learned. As entrepreneurs, you go through so many iterations and you're so hands-on with everything.
Yeah. And for me, it was as far as formulations are concerned, because I was very, very hands-on. I put from ingredient synergy. So one of the key thing about Plantkos and the uniqueness about Plantkos is that each one of the product has a proprietary, what we call it, phytomedicinal complex. And basically the approach that I took in designing that is that I wanted to use my background as a pharmacist and a lot of my heritage, being Indian, having grown up with Ayurvedic herbs. And there's so much research with Ayurvedic herbs. And I wanted to combine those to create a synergy of complex that helps with three main things, regardless of what product out of the line that you're using, which is helping with improving hydration of the skin, calming any irritation or not causing additional irritation, and ultimately fading dark spots or helping with hyperpigmentation. And I had all these formulations in my mind that I could create in my kitchen, but trying to scale, it's a completely different story. That in itself took me almost 3 years to find a lab who could actually make that. I found one lab here in Florida, and as we were doing the test run, it was just complete sort of a disaster in the sense that they didn't use the ingredients that I wanted. The texture was off. And it was just, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, that's not what I want. So I had to start all over again, looking for
Wow.
another lab.
That's a
And
lot of time to
it is
invest
a lot of
to
time.
pivot.
And that kind of delayed our launch as well, because again, now back to square one. Then we ran into some issues with packaging. Our packaging, our glass bottles actually come from Italy. And I wish we had this in the US, but in Italy, they pretty much take the entire month of August off,
Yeah.
and which is fantastic. And as you're, as a founder, you're just one person doing everything.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that was going to happen. And we wanted to launch in September, but the formulate, I mean, we need packaging to put the products in. So here I am talking to the supplier, and I'm like, what is it that we could do? I can't wait 30 days for them to ship the product at the end of August, because then it would be here end of September, but I'm launching mid-September. So that's not going to work. So we had to air ship certain number of packages. So that added a lot of extra dollar amount
Cost.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of additional costs. So
Wow.
again, but all of these, it's a lesson learned. We're better prepared. But the thing is, you have to have great partners who can help you navigate through all of this.
Yeah.
So I was so glad that the company that I was working with was helping me with packaging, was helping me troubleshoot all of this along the way.
Yeah. It sounds very stressful. And I think, and now you found, the right rhythm, right? Your own, like your right operating model. But I think it's a great example. And I think we hear that from a lot of founders, is so much this like test and learn and pivot. But one thing that stays true is the tenacity and that passion that you like stick with it, because it's like it really becomes a part of you, the brand, right? And what you want to develop and put out into the market.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it is, and same thing is happening now that we're looking at new products that we want to develop. Again, it's like me going back to 2017, 2018. Again, I am playing around with some formulations in my kitchen right now, ingredients that I want to try out, the texture, the tone, and the things it's going to address. I'm already doing a lot of research into ingredients, looking for clinical proof, because Plantkos products, being a pharmacist, having worked in pharmaceutical industry,
Yeah.
I didn't want to put anything out there that was not clinically tested. So that was something unique that we were able to do with Plantkos in the middle of COVID, is that I found a lab out in UK who actually grows human skin in the lab, which is very
Wow.
unique, because what it allows you to do is apply the product on it and do very sort of molecular level testing, mechanism wise testing on the products to see how they work, what proteins or all of that stuff it's affecting, and how is it truly giving its effect. So we did that, and that is something that I'm really truly staying true to, is the products. Not only do they have to have ingredients that are clinically proven, but the final formulation itself is also tested in that manner, that
Yeah.
we're looking at true sort of clinical data.
Yeah. You have true efficacy, right?
Yep.
How are you getting all of your research in terms of the ingredients? So you mentioned you want to source like the latest ingredients and the ones that'll be most effective. I mean, that has to take a tremendous amount of work to compile.
Yeah. So again, with this, I always go back to my training as a pharmacist and my experience in pharmaceutical industry, because there is a plethora of research articles out there, and there is a specific place where you can go and do this research. So I'm always on that website looking for the latest and greatest ingredients that might be out there, what's new in clinical dermatology, etc. And not only that, there are certain suppliers such as Croda and Cepic and all of them. They are constantly developing new ingredients. So going on their website, looking up what ingredients that they may have. And it is a lot of just uh, ground level research that I do, and I love it. I love reading clinical trials. I love, going through the studies that they've done and figuring out whether or not this makes sense, or if, how is it going to help or actually complement the products that we already have and the ingredients that we already have.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. It's you're quite brilliant, Sejal, for doing that and having the passion to do it. So as you're talking through and as other founders are listening to this, what are some tips and tricks, some advice that you would offer them in terms of as they're launching their brand or as they're maybe either giving up hope or trying a new avenue? What's some advice that you would provide to them?
I think one thing I'll say that you always have to believe in yourself and what you're creating. Because if you start, and we all have those moments of self-doubt, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't experience that. It's fine because it helps level set and kind of brings you back down to earth and to reality, and that, okay, let's take a step back. But I would say don't give up. Take a step back, reevaluate what you're doing. That's the first thing. Always believe in what you're doing and in your own capabilities, because we often, and especially as women, we always underestimate what we have to offer and the strength that we have. So don't give up on yourself. Secondly, I would say is that have a partner that you can rely on. Fortunately for me, it's my husband who's the co-founder, and not all of our conversations are calm and collective, but that's how we can, I can express my frustration to him and just go, oh my God, I can't deal with this anymore, whatnot. So he is sort of my sounding board, and he's there to kind of help me walk through it and calm me down and help me sort of, okay, let's refocus again. So have a partner that you can go to. And then thirdly, beauty industry is very new to me. I know ingredients, I know science. Beauty industry, not a clue. So find partners that are experts in the area that you're going to launch in and leverage that. So those are sort of the three important pillars that you should have to rely on, because it is a tough journey. I'm not going to lie. It's not a walk in the park, and it's not, what they say, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It is absolutely true. But always first start with believing in yourself and in what you're doing.
Absolutely. I think that's fantastic advice. And, your products are so relevant with what consumers are looking for these days, right? They're more educated. They want something that's more than just, regular cream. I mean, you're really addressing needs for a unique audience that they're looking for that. And also like the efficacy that you bring and the credibility with your background. And it's such a lovely story with where it started from with your daughter. So the last question I always love to ask is, what is your most favorite beauty product that you're using these days?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I have to absolutely have one from Plantkos, and it's not because I'm biased to it. I may be a little bit, but this essence, it's an amazing product. It is something that, you can use throughout the day. I just used it before putting my makeup on. It gives you instant hydration. During summer months here in Florida, I have it in my beach bag if I'm going to the pool or the beach, because it's nice and refreshing. And then one of the other products that I recently found is this leave-in treatment by Rahua. So they have a hair care. They are a clean hair care brand. And I've been looking for something that is clean, but also effective, and not so heavy or weighing it down. And I found this leave-in hair treatment that I actually used today in doing my hair. So as you can see, the bounce is still there.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice, it's heat protecting. So I'm actually, that's one of my favorites right now that I'm loving for hair care products.
That's a great tip. Your hair does look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sejal. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very happy to have you. It's an inspiring story, and we love your product. So we wish you the best of luck with your future. And we know there's something coming up as you continue to expand your business. So we'll keep an eye out for that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for allowing me to share my story.
Thanks, Sejal.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of our NIQ's Founder Series, where we deep dive with some of the most innovative brands and founders to unpack how brands launch and grow in the CPG space. This video is brought to you by NIQ, where we revolutionizing the CPG industry and democratizing data and analytics for emerging brands. To learn more, check out niq.com/Byzzer, Byzzer. And for all you beauty enthusiasts, ensure you check out our Beauty Hub for the latest trends and sign up for our newsletter. You can also click the QR code to join the Beauty Inner Circle. This allows you to have access to unlimited content for beauty thought leadership, events, and a private LinkedIn community. Thank you for joining us today, and stay well.